How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Dak 908, aka the Dig Dug himself. Yours truly back again with one Monster Hunter Generations. Sorry, English is hard. Anyway, here we go. We're fighting the Seregios here, or people lovingly refer to him as Steve, or Pinecone, or whatever, you know, maybe the way in which you want to talk about him. Regardless, we don't have a lot of time because this guy, he went down faster than, let's not make a very dirty pun here, but let's say he went down pretty quick. Alright, so the Seregios, he's weak to that. Actually, let's talk about a little bit of backstory. Jeez, I don't want to jump right into it. Seregios debuted in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, where he wasn't necessarily the flagship monster, but if you played the story mode, he was a huge problem in the story. Not as much as Gore Magala was, but as things slowly progressed, he became a glaring issue to that of, you know, the hunters in the world within, because normally his kind would, you know, rarely show up, but then they started showing up in, like, massive droves. Even more so than Deviljho, if you will. Because Deviljho is a nomad monster. Imagine this guy being like Deviljho, but him having the ability to fly. He can actually get to places he's not supposed to a lot quicker if he really wants to be in these places that he's not supposed to a lot quicker. Okay, with that being said, he was also the introduction of a new element, if you will, known as bleeding. Now, in this game, there's a couple more monsters who can also give you the bleeding element, but in the beginning, he was the only one who actually could. But now, we're no longer in 4 Ultimate, we are in Generations, there's a couple monsters who can do this, and he's not as special with his particular element, or ailment rather. Although, his armor is a lot better in my opinion now than it was before, doing the part that he actually has better defense, and his skills are actually not that bad. His weapons are still very unique though, whereas you would roll on the ground and they would regain sharpness and what have you and whatnot. But anyway, let's get directly into the weaknesses and whatnot. So for starters, I will say this: this guy is weak to thunder and then ice. Thunder being the primary weakness. That's why I brought my Legiacris lance in here. And might I add, it might be that this lance is just really good, or I'm really good, or I'm just really good, but I'm really good, and he died very quickly. Okay, I mean, I was surprised. I was like, wow. It was like 4.5 minutes, and I was like, man, I gotta pad this video out. You know, no one's gonna learn anything. But like I said before, his armor is really good. His weapons are nice. They don't have an element. They do have very sharpness and really good. What do you call it? Really good attack, really good sharpness. There you go. I mean, you can't really beat it. There's a lot of people who actually like to use his weapons for high attack sets. His weapons, they do part off into different, different paths, and some paths are better than others in certain cases and whatnot, what have you. But I would recommend his equipment. I totally would. His armor is very interesting, not unique, but if you have a very decent focus talisman, he does have 3 slots in his armor, and you can probably squeeze in focus in there, because his armor, if you add the focus, is very good armor for a greatsword. It has constitution that allow you to, you know, not really take up so much damage when, stamina when you block and roll and whatnot, but it has critical draw, which is a very nice greatsword skill. So if you can get focus draw on there, you'd be in great hands, in my honest opinion. That being said, when you want to fight this guy, you would probably want to bring you anything you're necessarily comfortable with. I probably wouldn't bring some similar to that of a sword and shield, or even dual blades. He isn't the longest monster. He's kind of narrow-ish. He does move around quite a bit as well, so you're gonna want to hit him as much as you can, as hard as you can. Not necessarily as much as you can, as weak as the attack is, because I mean, if I can get 4 pokes off with the lance or 4 hits with the great sword, I know people are saying you could do the same thing with a sword and shield, whatever, but you need the monster to stay still long enough for you to do this excess of damage. Whereas these other weapons, you just gotta hit them once, twice, and that's it. And you're really only gonna get that many options too, because he likes to hover around, likes to fly around, likes to skirt around, he likes to do all these kind of weird maneuverable things. And it's actually very interesting for a monster to actually have the mobility in which he does, because no other monster can move kind of like this guy. I will honestly admit it. No other monster can just like float right around the air and, like, with the expert grace of, I don't know, some kind of monster ballerina thing, do what he does. Sure, Rathlow's like to talk this big deal about him being the king of the skies and whatnot, but I don't think he can do any aerial tricks. There's the word. Any aerial tricks, any dope skills like this guy can. Anyway, with that being said, his attacks, a lot of them will pin you. A lot of them will get you with that bleeding stuff. So let's talk about which ones will pin, which one will bleed. Now, he has this wide sweeping arc of attack, if you will. Like, he'll sweep like all around. He'll have this crazy arc. Okay, if you see him do this crazy wide arc, that's his pinning attack. It normally hits quite a bit because it's kind of hard to really see where it's coming from. Because like I said, it kind of like swings around. So you don't know if you should be blocking not necessarily right now, or like if it's gonna miss you, or like, so it kind of throws off just a little bit. Just know if he does that, be wary, try to get a roll in or something like that. It should be necessarily okay. It's a spinning attack. Now his attack that can actually hit you with the bleeding is if he decides to shoot off any of the scales. He can do this from his neck, if you will, and also from his tail. Now they look like little bitty like missiles, like tiny little missiles that he'll sling out. And if you get hit with them, they will cause this weird area of effect thing where it looks like it's exploding in one area. I mean, if you get hit with it, I think 3 times, you'll bleed. So what you can do actually is you can get hit with it once. You can, if you mash the roll button, or if you have a shield, you can mash R for blocking, and you can actually not be hit with the rest of the attacks. That's if you get hit with one of the attacks. Granted, you can just like easily just block either of these things, and you should be relatively okay. Now, other than that, I mean, a lot of people actually have a lot of problems with this guy, but I will say once you understand what the bleeding does, and if you don't know what it does, I will tell you, when you get hit with the bleeding element, just moving around will actually tick off, as in like slowly tick down rather, your total health, replacing it with red health, meaning it can come back, but if you take a hit, it's all gone. So it's like a gamble, if you will. So try not to get hit with the bleeding element. If you do get hit with the bleeding, if anything, eat you some sushi fish, because it gets rid of it right away. Or if you want, you can actually crouch for a little while, and crouching will also, you know, get rid of it on top of that. Also, can't forget, if you eat a well done steak, it'll get rid of the effect as well. But man, see, that's what I mean, the fight was so quick. I didn't even have time to tell you what you were running here with. Anyway, you know what to do. Watch for his attacks. If you made it this far, you should be really good at doing that. I mean, he's not too totally like hard. Just sit back a little bit, watch what he can do, and he'll be in relatively good hands, in my opinion. Granted, if you want to use a hunting style, I recommend Adept. Not so much aerial. He's already in the air. I mean, sure, if you're really nice with aerial, you can do it, but I would recommend Adept, so that way you can dodge all of his, you know, madness that is with the scales and stuff for the bleeding and whatnot. Anyway, it's been your boy Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself. Hopefully this short video you found helpful. If not, then I apologize, because I suck at Monster Hunter, and I suck at explaining things, and I suck at giving people tips. With that being said, it's been your boy Dak908, and may the desire sensor forever be in your favor.